Hey everybody, Raymond here. Special guest today, you may recognize her.
It's me.
From a few other videos on the channel for the past 9 years. It is Leigh. And as important, no, not nearly as important, is we have the Z6 today. Today's Thursday. This arrived on Tuesday. Tuesday. And here it is right next to the Z7. And I'm going to answer this in a minute, but I'm going to ask you first. You've used both of them now, obviously the Z7 more, but you've now picked up the Z6. What's the difference in your hands between the two?
None. Exactly the same. Exactly the same, except for the 6 on this one and the 7 on this one.
The outside physical characteristics are the same. There's a different sensor. There's different amount of focus points. It's the same experience for less money and a few less pixels and a little bit faster. And about a third stop, they're saying better high ISO performance. So I think this is the sweet spot myself. And what's funny is, for my answer, even though I know in my head rationally that they're the same, the Z6, because it's like the little brother that's like trying to be like the big brother, it's like a little bit sportier to me. It moves around a little bit more. The Z7's a little more still in my hands. It's a little more like royalty, and the Z6 is like nipping at its heels. It just kind of has a mind of its own. And that's all here, but you know what? I realized that, and I just kind of embrace it. Like, okay, it's just going to be the quicker one, So it's been fun so far. Actually, the first lens that I had on it was the 50 millimeter f1.8 G lens. Just before this video, I actually used that for a day and a half, and then I put the 35 millimeter on it here. So that's the only two lenses we've been using so far. We do have two, the FTZ adapter? FTZ. We have two of the FTZ adapters, one for each camera, so we can both be shooting f-mount lenses when the time comes to do that. We don't have to shuffle around. Yes. So it's a great camera in its own right. It's almost a little anticlimactic for us because we've both now been using the Z7. I've been using it for about a week just to get myself ready to be able to set this guy up. And it delivers the same way that the Z7 does for me so far. It feels the same. It just feels the same when you're shooting it. So I haven't gone into Lightroom with any of the images. I haven't had the Z6 in any difficult situations. So I don't really know what the tangible difference is going to be, what the practical difference rather is going to be for me. But yeah, they feel very similar, and just looking at the images as I'm taking them or kind of reviewing them in playback, no differences so far, no practical differences so far. I realize that there will be differences in certain situations once I get, the photos onto a computer and really look at them. But at this point, it's like, well, got another one. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see, the sensors probably have some characteristic differences beyond just the megapixel count. It'll be interesting to set the color balance exactly the same, move one lens back and forth between them right next to each other. And do we get an identical image? Does it fall apart when we zoom in, or even with the megapixel difference, do we get basically, something very similar? Yeah, for me, what will be interesting in that regard is to see if I can have a 2-camera video setup for videos and have the 2 angles look the same. So yeah, that's something that I've struggled with throughout the years in wanting to do a video that has like 2 camera angles and having to film my hands holding something at a different time as my face talking to you because I can't get the footage to really look the same. Yeah, and that day never comes where you say, oh, I have a D810. I'll go out and buy 2 more D810s. That's probably not going to happen. No. So that's a good point. This will be very interesting to see if we can seamlessly cut back and forth between the two and see if it's... And really for photos too, I'm thinking ahead to the next big field trip, I'll be unveiling that soon. But potentially taking these two cameras out with several lenses and being able to swap them out, and then, having, say, the telephoto on one and a wide angle on the other, and being able to, switch back and forth. And then once I look at them in the computer to put together a book, a story of images, are all the images going to look the same, or am I going to have to go in and do a bunch of monkeying with colors and contrast and all of that to bring a unifying look to the two sets of images?
Okay, so we're going to review this puppy, and almost died, almost knocked stuff over. We're going to review this same way as the Z7,
sort of,
with building the review videos. In fact, I think that's what we've named the series, is building the review. What you won't see, and what other people do that we won't do, is you're not going to see a review of this tomorrow, even though we've got experience with the Z7, because as many of you commented, review it in its own right, but give some love to the Z7, its sibling, at the same time. So we're going to take it out in the different situations in its own right. We'll probably have the Z7 with us for comparison in most cases. And as we check those different boxes and encounter those different obstacles and cross them with the Z6, that's building the review, but we'll share the building of the review with you every step of the way.
Yeah, I'll put a link to the Z7 playlist that I made up above, and you'll get the idea of doing these projects along the way towards the actual big review, so that you guys know where we are along the review process, and also so you can see photos and stuff taken with the camera, leading up to that big review.
Okay, that's it for the Everybody Show today. Members of YouTube, go to that community tab. Patreon members, website members, you know where to go.
Link down below.
Yes, link down below. We're going to talk about some rumors, not about the Z series, but about the D series that you may have seen in the past couple of days, maybe some announcements in January. And I'm going to talk about whether that's consistent with my theory from earlier last week, that the DSLR is doomed. So members, hang tight for that. We're going to talk about that in just a minute and share our respective thoughts. Everyone else, talk to you very soon.
To see Raymond's weekly show for members in its entirety, click the join button below. If you don't see a join button, there's a link in the description. Then you'll see all of the member exclusive content in the community tab.